I gave the play a subtitle of a Fantasia on the life of Florence Foster Jenkins. And it's important to understand that the play has really almost nothing to do with the real people. Cosby, people in New York City still think he was an invented name, and it was really Edmund McMaster.
Right.
In a funny wig. You know, he went on to be a very important accompanist with Kirsten Flogstad, among other people. But no, Cosby was born in Mexico. He grew up in San Antonio, moved to New York when he was 19. He actually gave a recital at Town Hall in, I think, 1929, and met Mrs. Jenkins shortly after. After her death, I think life must have been very difficult for him in the city, and he moved back to San Antonio where he died. Now, that person has no bearing or relation on Cosby and the play whatsoever. And the same is true, I think, with Florence. I mean, I take a few of the things that they did to concert hall, the concert at the Carnegie Hall, some of the music that she sang, though not all. She never sang the Ave, that I'm aware of. What else? The Ritz-Carlton details.
Right.
And invented the story from that. Cosby never worked in a suburb, ever.
There's a documentary that we all watched about Florence Foster Jenkins, which is about 90 minutes long, and there's not much there.
Well, but actually, Souvenir is in there, of course.
Right.
I was not invited to the documentary. They had a showing of it at the York Theater where we were performing the play.
Wow.
And I was not invited. The actors were.
Wow.
So I haven't seen it.
You haven't?
It was one of the few things. I've had this play for, I think at least 2 years, hoping to get it produced. My acting coach brought it to me a few years ago and wanted to direct me in it with an accompanist up in Santa Fe who backed out. And he didn't have any acting experience. I think that scared him. And
I have acting experience, and it scares me.
So I fell in love with the piece and started trying to do research to really. I mean, I've known about Florence Foster Jenkins since I was studying opera in my 20s, and I remember when I was learning The Queen of the Night, my accompanist pulled out this Florence Foster Jenkins album with her singing it, and I was like, wow. But just trying to find information about her is very difficult. I understand there's more there in the public library in New York City that you can get access to, but I've had a really hard time finding any information on her.
Not really. I did that research in '81, and I went to it's the Library of Performing Arts in Lincoln Center, and which is part of the New York Public Library. And they have boxes of programs, clippings, pictures and stuff, music, and people have gone and stolen so much of it. And I was struck, and this is one of the things about the story that interested me, is that it's everything one hears is like after dinner gossip, when people have had a couple of martinis, a glass of wine, and everyone is gossiping and slightly showing off, and it all has a slightly sniggering undertone to it. So far as I'm aware, this is the first time this story was ever taken seriously. Even though I don't pretend it's a biography. But she did inspire a great deal of derision, but people were fond of her, I think. But people a lady who's a very distinguished actress swears that she saw 3 of them. No, she saw 3 Carnegie Hall concerts.
Wow.
No one remembers it the same way.
The same, yeah.
Everyone has a different version.